The faithful, round table, we came for the crown. Rob with the fire, burn the whole block down. Chris with the facts, he cut through the lies. Hector with the smoke, got the whole room size. Eddie with the truth, make it hit like stone. 4-man oath, you don't stand alone. Queens in the blood, double raise, we rep that 7 train rattle when the night get flat. New York mess on the chest when we step in. City feel royal, let the whole town bless in. Metal on the rail, see the crowd lean in. Boost to the platform, we don't fold, we win. Rob in the blaze, Chris with the proof. Heck can leave haze where the weak ones move. Eddie tell facts, no gloss, no spin. Round table, ring of the war begin. Faithful, faithful, say it. Queens to the field, we on that track. Rob with the fire, Chris with the facts, Hector with the small, Eddie with the true. From the 7 line up, hit a whole car shout. Mess on the wave, let the old pain out. If the city get cold, we bring heat to the room. If the doubt come close, we turned out to doom. Faithful round table, that names they sharp. 4 voice, 1 strike, 1 beat, 1 heart. Queens in our bones, and we never get small. Say the names 1 time, we answer them all.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome to the episode 2 of the Flushing Faithful Roundtable right here on all the platforms. We can't wait to talk about these goddamn Mets. But before we get anything, let's go Knicks, by the way. But the state of the New York Mets, there's 2 things we know here. Number 1, they can't steal bases. They get caught every time. I know Hector brought that up on social media. And on top of that, there's a lot of talk with the New York Mets in regards to injury excuses, trade deadline, and everything else that is going wrong with this goddamn team. And we're going to talk all about it. And we're going to get right into the state of the Mets here. And Hector, I'm going to start with you only because when you brought up the stolen base situation and you brought it up on social media, I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, it was obvious. It's obvious that they brought up all this speed prospect wise, and it's not benefiting them at all. And it's something that we know, the lack of power from this team, the lack of slugging percentage from this team. So they need to take that extra base. They need to steal those bases. They need to get in scoring position, taking that extra base. Why did you bring that up in social media? And it makes so much sense to why you brought it up, but it is so important for the success of this team. And I just want to get your thoughts on why you brought that up on social media.
Well, first of all, what's up, everybody, man? Good to be here. I don't know.
What up, Heck?
I don't know if can't wait to come talk about these Mets is the right way to say it, but yeah, we're here nonetheless, man, and it's always good to be here. I mean, it's, like you said, it's obvious because we keep getting thrown out, and we bring up these kids that all we heard about was all the speed and the success in the minor leagues and so on and so forth. But I think sometimes we forget that there's more to it, right? There's a lot more to it. And for years here, if you're a fan of the New York Mets, we talked about Brandon Nimmo and his lack of stolen bases. And why can't Nimmo steal bases? He's fast. He has the speed to do it. And I always kept saying, well, one, you need the confidence to be able to steal bases. Nimmo may be too nice to steal bases. I know that doesn't make any sense. But to the matter at hand, again, just tired of seeing A.J. Ewing get thrown out in big spots. Carson Bench, same thing. But more Ewing, back-to-back days, we saw him get thrown out. We saw him come in as a pinch runner and get thrown out. But I thought it was revealing, and it goes too long. What I was thinking is you can have all the speed in the world. But, again, if you don't know how to get a good jump, if you don't know how to read the pitcher well, then the speed is not going to do you much. Yeah, it might make up for your mistakes every now and then, but if you have a good catcher like you had that night, there's a good chance you're going to fail. And it was revealing to me that he said the next day, Ewing himself, that he took that walking lead that we saw them start taking last year, and for some reason he saw the pitcher stop, or he thought the pitcher stopped, so he stopped. And at that point, he probably should have aborted the stolen base, but he went anyways. You know what I'm saying? So just right there, at least I think, you see, maybe if Antoine Richardson is there, is that something that he has polished up? You know what I mean? Even though the kid has only been here for, 2 weeks, whatever the hell it's been. But still, I do have to wonder. Not to make a big deal about Richardson or anything like that. And I don't even think I mentioned Antoine Richardson in that post, but it was just like, yeah, we got the speed, but you still got to have the know-how. And, I mean, it's just an addition to the list of things of this team that just make me sick. But anyways. What, did I lose you guys?
No, I can't hear you, Rob.
Yeah, I
Can't
did.
hear you, Rob.
Rob, yeah, you're muted, bro.
My bad.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was screaming for some reason, and I guess I muted myself. So, yeah, I agree with you, and that's the thing. Is it Antoine Richardson? I mean, you have to bring up the coaches, right? Because this is the shiny new toy of David Stearns, along with all the injured players he brought in here. But yeah, I continue to think that, is it the coaching? Because we've seen Soto try to take walking leads. You see all the young kids starting to take those walking leads to steal bases, and it's still not really being successful for the most part. And it's a huge problem, especially when you're not hitting balls over the wall to score those runs. And, it's interesting because we know what happened with Antoine Richardson. The Mets didn't want to pay him that extra little bit of money or whatever the excuse was for not bringing him back. And now the Braves are, dominating baseball right now with him and Hefner. And, it just goes to show, is it the coaching or is it the lack of confidence in these players or just the good baseball sense or stolen base sense? Because these kids can steal bases. They steal them in the minors. Ewan has 70 stolen bases. Like, they can steal bases, but is it the mindset that they don't have the confidence in doing it on the base pad? And that goes to coaching as well. And, get anybody else's thoughts, but I just wonder what is the problem.
No, my bad. I just wanted to add to that, Rob, because I made that post and because of what's been going on. I do the pregame spaces on X, and I forget a few games ago the conversation we're talking about it. So we looked it up. I looked it up. Okay, let's see where the Braves are in stolen bases. And at that point, the Mets actually had 2 more stolen bases than the Braves. Yeah. I think it was like 27-25. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, maybe the Braves are not utilizing that. Maybe that's not part of their game where we seem to want to incorporate that, but we're not doing a good job of it. So is it Antoine Richardson? Is it not? Do we miss him? Do we not miss him? I mean, do we miss Jeremy Hefner? I don't freaking know. What I do know is that we stink.
But Hector, that's the difference, though, between the Mets and the Braves. The Braves don't need to incorporate that. They don't need that leg up on other teams. They're going to beat teams regardless because they know how to hit the baseball. With the Mets, that was one thing with the offense doing what it's doing. You call up these young kids and you expect them to incorporate that and make this lineup better in that way with the speed on the bases. And that was like the one thing, for me at least, that I was looking forward to this lineup. All right, maybe we can't hit a baseball squarely and get consistent hits. Maybe they put down a few bunts, they do some swinging bunts, and they leg out some base hits and then swipe a bag. And we're not even doing that. So that's really the most frustrating part, too, is just like the little things with this team that need to be there to make up for the fact that they actually just stink in all other aspects isn't even there, and they're not doing the little things. Even as little as backing up a base, for crying out loud, with David Peterson. I know that we were already down at that point. It seems like it's nitpicking, but I'm telling you, elementary level baseball things, this team can't even get right, and it's the second highest payroll or first highest, whatever, present day value in baseball. So it's just sickening, and it's honestly flat out embarrassing at this point.
I'd be lying to you if I could sit here and say that I really give 2 fucks about what any of you guys are saying about this team, because they're a fucking disaster. And all I care about right now is my center, Mitchell Robinson, who has a broken pinky and could possibly be out for the final. So I wouldn't be genuinely honest if I'm sitting here, because that's what I'm thinking about. I am not thinking about these fucking losers who won a game last night and are still 10 games under 500. And it's not you guys want to talk about the stolen bases? Fine. It's a million different things that's wrong with this thing. A million different things. Whether it's hitting, the power. I could list probably 20 things right now that are wrong with this team. And it's a disaster. And I'm sick of watching them. And most of all, they are so fucking boring. They are the most boring team to watch ever. Because if you go down 3 runs, the game's fucking over. We don't got a chance. And it's just, I was watching a post the other day about the Tampa Bay Rays and how they're building their team. and they're building their team through small ball. Their guys have the lowest barrel rate, lowest hard hit percentage, all the things that, good teams are supposed to have. They don't have it. But they play small ball and they pitch really well, and they have all this, ways to attack the pitching, and they do a really good job. And maybe we should start thinking like that. We used to do that. If you remember in 2022, we beat teams. Everybody said it was death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's how we beat teams. We don't do shit anymore. The Mets don't do anything. If they get on base, nothing happens. There's no continuity in the lineup. Besides Soto, there's nobody that can hit a home run. I mean, it's just the pitching sucks. You don't know what guy's gonna bring you each night from night to night, and it sucks, and it's pissing me off. And now I gotta watch it. They're gonna throw in a salary cap, and then we're really gonna be fucking screwed. So I'm fed up, and my heart's with the Knicks. That's it.
Yeah, and Mitchell, tape up that pinky to that ring finger,
bro. Shoot that shit up, tape it up, do everything.
90s mixed mentality. Let's go. Like, tape that shit up. Let's go. But you're right, Eddie. And this is the problem with the Mets. Like, I don't even think the coaching staff knows what this team can do well. Like, pick one thing and do it 100%. Like, if you want to play small ball, do 100% small ball. It should be the way they should go because there's no power in this lineup. So it only makes sense to go to that aspect of the game and try to do that 100%. But I don't think the coaches have any fucking idea, to be quite honest with you. And you know what? It goes up from the top too. I don't, David Stern, who is, making everybody a puppet. He's a puppeteer. He's pulling all the strings here. When it comes to the coaches, in my opinion, honestly, I don't even think he knows what this team can be. Honestly, the way to find what your team is good at and then implementing it is something that this organization doesn't do. And that's the problem. Like, if you're good at getting on base, if on base is good, right? I haven't checked the numbers, but let's just say on base is
we're terrible.
Yeah, of course we are. But let's just say it's the best part of this team, even though it's not, top of the league. But let's say on base is the best of this team, part of this team. Then find a way to utilize that 100% instead of going half-ass and everything, saying, oh, well, I'm going to put, this guy that is not a cleanup hitter in the cleanup spot. Let's put guys that shouldn't be anywhere near 1 through 4 in that area in the lineup. It's just, I don't think they have any idea. And then, they make excuses, and this goes to Chris's social media post when it comes, or video, about injury excuses. This is another thing that, David Stearns has in his back pocket as a scapegoat to not blame him or himself for this disaster of a season. Or let's be honest, the last couple of seasons. And, and I'm going to talk to Chris about this, bringing up your video and what you talked about with injury excuses. It's not an excuse because it's not like these guys have phantom injuries where they haven't been injured in, let's say, 6 years. All these guys that are injured, or most of them, have been injured just last year. So David Stearns knew this, Chris, and you make a great point in your videos, and that's why I brought it up and made it one of the topics. Why are they? And they're not really saying that out loud when it comes to excuses, but they're going to at some point.
Of course.
What is your take on it?
They've already made that excuse, guys.
I'm sure they have. It's absurd. It's like people. The saddest part about it is that fans, most fans, not us and probably not anybody in this chat, hopefully not, which is why we're trying to get it through your guys' minds, but some fans out there, and I've seen it over X all over, they will buy into it and they will eat up that excuse, and it's going to be the same continuous repetitive process. But like you said, Rob, it boils down to the guys that you brought in. They had injury backgrounds, and David Stearns knew that, and that's fine. Because who's to say they can't play a handful of games, right? Or stay on the field healthy, whatever. But you have to have a contingency plan if you're David Stearns, knowing that you are going after those kinds of guys, especially if you're replacing one of the most durable, and I hate to bring him up, but the most durable player that you probably lost in Pete Alonso. Just an Iron Man out there. You got to know that. And you got to expect fans to react negatively to it. But my whole thing is this. is this team was not good even at full strength in the beginning of the season. Let's not act like before all these guys hit the IL that this team was even good. Like, how many games do we think? Because I honestly don't know statistically how many before guys started hitting the injury list left and right, not including the guys that started the season on the IL, but how many games did Robert Jr., Polanco, Lindor, Soto, all of these core nucleus of starters played together? Does anybody know? Probably about like what, 10 to 12 maybe?
14.
Before?
I think it was about 14
Yeah,
games.
it wasn't many, to be fair. It
Or
wasn't many.
14.
Which,
But, like,
which is fair. It's
that's a fair assessment, but were you all through the first 14 games of the season still confident with the way that they were going? I know short sample size, small sample size. Lindor didn't get off to a good start. Polanco was absolutely dreadful. Robert Jr. was off to a great start, and we're like, oh, wow, change of scenery, great. And then he started to fall off a cliff really fast. So these guys, even before they hit the IL, stunk. And that's my whole entire point and why I am not giving this team the injury excuse. They were stinking before they went on the IL, and now the plan, the grand plan from David Stearns and Mendoza and what they're saying to the media is, we're okay because these guys are going to come back. To do what? All of a sudden learn how to hit a baseball when they couldn't do it before they hit the IL? So, and going back, just my last point here, Rob, you cannot fix. I know you said fixing the lineup and adjusting this, that, and the other. You cannot fix the rankings of how this offense fares in the league. I just looked it up per MLB. Dead last in slugging percentage. Dead last in OPS. I'm talking 30th in Major League Baseball. The Rockies, Athletics, all these bottom-dwelling teams, Angels, are better than the New York Mets. 29th in on-base percentage and 29th in batting average. All four major statistical categories of offense, bottom two team in the league in every single one of them across the board. There is no fixing that unless there's a magic genie somewhere where we can ask, if we get 3 wishes, one of them is make this offense competent. That's the only way.
Where's Kelly Johnson, Juan Uribe, and then Yoenis Cespedes when you need him?
It's
Really?
Hector. We're not
Really?
even at that point. You could bring in fucking Shohei Ohtani here. You could bring in Prime Barry Bonds, and it wouldn't change a thing. The pitching
It sure
sucks.
seems like that.
I
I don't know if
seriously.
the pitching necessarily sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because even though the pitching,
Okay, how about
the
all right,
names are there, the pitching has given his team a chance to win
but now without
90%
Clay
of the time,
Holmes,
bro.
Hector, be
I
honest.
understand that. I understand you can tell me without Clay Holmes.
Okay, it does. All right, I won't.
But how
say
many
suck.
games have they really, really, really been out of it if they had a competent offense?
Did
We
really?
scored less than 3.5 runs a game, Eddie, or maybe
Yeah.
a little bit over 3.5
No, I
because we
think
had a
it's
couple
more, a
of
little
good
more
days.
than that. But I'm just saying,
No,
heck, like
not that far. Trust me.
I'm just saying, though, the pitching is mid. Like it's mid. It's not great. It's middle of the line. It's nothing special.
I understand that. But we can't deny the results. You can't deny what the hell we're watching. They're keeping the team in the game. Now, if they were doing what they're doing and the team was scoring 4 or 5 runs a game and they were blowing the left and right, Weaver was coming not getting the job done, or Williams not coming in not getting the job, then I would say, yeah, the pitching is trash. But right now, I can't really talk about the pitching when, again, we averaging less than 4 runs a game, bro.
But heck, didn't you expect better?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
that's the frustrating
that's
part.
like my whole point to this.
But from the whole
Like,
team, I expected
Yeah.
I expected better from the offense. I expect better from Soto. I don't give a shit
Bro.
about the back of his baseball card and those empty ass numbers that he puts up. I expected better from Bichette. I expected better from fucking Mark Vientos.
How about Peralta? He was supposed to be the ace. Oh, he's going to be the ace. He's nowhere near an ace. This guy's a number 4.
But
At best.
we knew what Peralta was, though. Like, I was fine with the trade, but we all knew he was 5-in Freddie. Like, we all knew that. Like, that wasn't something that he, all of a sudden started doing with the New York Mets. So, and this is why me and Chris talked about many times why we needed 2 top starting pitchers along with Nolan McLean. Like, because we put way too much trust in Nolan McLean as you know, how many Met fans talked about him being an ace? The dude pitched 8 games last year.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry.
Everybody banked on that, Rob.
Well,
He's going to be a number one.
David Stearns and the organization did as well. And that is why I don't trust this organization and David Stearns running things, because of the fact that the pitching has been more than fine to win ball games. They've been in a lot of ball games where they just couldn't get runs in. But you know what's the other funny thing is too, is that I don't even think it's the runs per game. I think it's when they score their runs. I think that's the problem. It's like, you know, they'll score 12 runs all of a sudden out of nowhere, and then they'll score 3 runs in a Marlins series. Like,
Or they'll be down 7-0 and hit a solo home run.
Correct. Well, that's the thing. And it's like, you know, I understand the Freddie Peralta situation. Like, look, if you look at this pitching staff, and obviously without Clay Holmes, for somehow, some way, we feel like we're in every ball game. Now, we know we're losing a ball game because the offense won't score the runs to win the ball game, but we're in every ball game. We're not getting blown out every game. You know, last year we were getting blown out in every game. Like from June on, when the pitching was terrible, we were getting up 6-7 runs per game. Like, that's how bad the pitching was. Like, the pitching's actually giving you a chance to win, and the pitching has been, I would say a lot better than what it was last year after June last year. So they're giving you chances to win. It's just that the offense is just not doing enough. And, you know, with the injuries, does it suck to have Lindor? Will Luis Robert and Polanco be a difference maker for a lot? I don't know. But you know what? I'm excited because we get to see more prospects, because that's the favorite thing about me as a Met fan. I want to see more prospects that are going to underperform with this organization, because that's all they do is underperform, right? AJ Ewing might be a good player. That might be fine, but he's not going to be a difference maker. Sorry for all the Met fans that think he was. All the clamoring Met fans that wanted AJ Ewing up here and Carson Bench up here, they're role players. They're going to be starting players that are role players in this lineup. They are not going to be difference makers. I want to make everybody clear about that. They're not going to be power hitters. They're not going to be probably high average guys. They're going to be guys that are probably solid ball players, which you do need on a team. But to tell me that these guys are going to be difference makers, because these are the first guys that come up, right? David Stearns brought these guys up to light a spark. They lit a spark for about a week each, and then that was basically it. So I'm sick and tired, right? I don't want to hear about Ryan Clifford. I don't want to hear about Morabito again. I don't want to hear about, Elian Pena that might not be here in 2032. I don't give a shit about this.
Every time I hear that name, it drives me fucking crazy. Elian Pena,
Yeah,
like you said.
enough
This dude
about
is
this
5
guy.
years away at best.
Like,
5 years away at best. And like you said, where's that impactful fucking prospect that's gonna come up? Even McLean, who we thought was a sure thing.
Yeah.
Are we convinced right now?
I think he's going to be a solid number 2.
That's the other thing.
I think that's a high. I don't even know if he's a number 2.
No?
I can't think. I think it's
No,
too
that's
early
scary.
to say that.
No, that's scary.
I think he'll be fine. I mean, listen, Nolan McLean, last 2 starts, absolutely abysmal. He wasn't really having that bad of a season before those last 2 starts. Those skewed his numbers a lot. He's got a 4.40 ERA, but like that's skewed by 2 bad starts. I think this kid's gonna be okay. We'd mentioned this, Rob, in the pregame, right? Because people were going back and forth with us, like, why is Nolan McLean all of a sudden shitting the bed, and Cam Schiller on the other side of town is lighting it up, and Jacob Mizorowski is one of the best pitchers in the league, and these guys are all similar age and whatever. It's because Nolan McLean, as opposed to those other 2 guys, is just too reliant on his off-speed pitches right now. I think that once he dials back into his fastball and uses that, he's going to be okay. The bottom line, though, with the Freddie Peralta trade, I will not go back and pretend like I wasn't excited. I don't think this guy's pitched half bad. He hasn't given the Mets length, but he's pitching to the tune of a 3.50 ERA. He's a 3rd starter, right? That's 3rd starter.
Yeah, we were so better though. Come on.
No, but you know what? I said with Peralta? Is it more about the Mets and not being able to maximize him the way that the Brewers did? He's doing, like Chris said, he's basically doing what he did with the Brewers. The problem is we're not following it up. We're not giving him enough offense. Maybe we don't have the bullpen, you know what I'm saying, to hold it down for him, to not let the inherited runners get in, right? So that
I expected better.
But because like Chris said, I was excited when we got the trade, and I expected the trade for Peralta. But when I dove into the numbers, and I said this all off season on Blunt Thoughts, when I dove into the numbers and I saw that he pitched maybe I think it was 5 more innings than Clay Holmes, I said, whoa, wait a minute. And I looked further and I was like, oh, this is a regular thing. This dude is a 5-inning pitcher. He ain't no damn ace. But okay, I'll take him. He's still at the top. But I
So
think
let me ask you: was it an overpay?
If you take a look at what Sproat and Jet Williams are doing this season, probably not. I don't think so.
yeah, I was gonna say I haven't followed up on those guys, but
I haven't either. That's why I asked the question.
just to finish finish or
Sorry,
back
I
up
cut
my,
you off with that.
No, you good because I'm cutting everybody off because I just looked something up. As far as like the pitching and the hitting, it's squarely the hitting, bro. Chris just gave you the numbers: 29th and 30 in almost every important offensive number, all on base percentage, average, blah 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 blah. The Mets average 3.82 runs per game, brother. You know what the Mets ERA
What is it? 3 point what?
3.82 as an offense. 3.82.
Yeah, they ain't winning your ball games.
Their ERA, they're 29th and 30th in offense on almost everything. They are 12th, 13th in ERA at 3.91.
Middle of the pack.
Which should be a playoff
Mid.
with that pitching staff.
It's mid. Middle of the pack.
It's a better than 500 team.
How many starts between McClain and Peralta so far, just those two guys, have we seen them pitch and keep their team in the ball game and the offense screw them over? McClain especially, because his first handful of outings, that's all we were saying. This guy's going to be DeGrom 2.0.
Yeah.
You've seen that meme on Twitter with BMW, Maserati, whatever, underneath that?
Yes.
That's
In a trailer
that
park.
was McClain. Yeah, exactly. So, like, that's
Like
what
Ray
we were
said.
saying. Yeah. That's what we were saying. I don't know if it's an overpay, man. Listen, I'll tell you what, Brandon Sproat.
No, the overpay is Bo, like Ray said in the comments. That's the
Bo
overpay.
is
Bo
an overpay.
Bichette.
Listen, we need to go in on Bo Bichette. This guy's a disgrace to every single cent and penny of $42 million that he's getting paid. He's a disgrace. And this whole entire lineup outside of Juan Soto is a disgrace. But
so is Kyle Tucker.
Yep.
Kyle Tucker's a disaster, bro.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yo,
Yeah, but the
three
Dodgers didn't
homers.
need him though. That's the problem. Like
that's exactly two different situations and two different. Yeah, exactly.
the
But
pitching
no.
is 10th in WAR, bro, at 6.2.
It should be a playoff. It's a playoff.
So you were right about the fact they don't suck, but I still think it's 10th. It's middle of the pack. I was expecting to be 10 and under, like 5 through 10. That's what I was expecting this year.
Well, again, you were probably projecting McClain to be even better than what everybody thought he was.
I thought it'd be a number 2.
That's the problem. Because I never thought. To be quiet, like Chris, you can back me up on this.
Like during the WBC, bro, I was like, okay, this guy's not a number 1.
I didn't even think that. I just felt like, first off, the Mets already put him in a terrible position to be.
I was gonna say he shouldn't even be considered a number 3 or number 2 from this organization standpoint when you're building the roster. That's the first mistake. Why are they doing that to him?
And to go back on the overpay for Peralta, like again, I'm not a prospect guy. I give up every top 10 prospect to give me proven talent in here every single day of the week. But right, honestly, I think the overpay was Acuna for Luis Robert Jr., not Jet Williams and Brandon Stroh.
That's a good call.
You know why? And I'm not a fan of Luisano Acuna, but
I liked him.
But the difference is that you were bringing in a top starter, so you're gonna pay for that. And if Brandon Sproat wasn't gonna be it was gonna be another one of these guys that are probably a middle of the road rotation guy, wonderful. And Jet Williams, who the hell knows, right?
We got Tobias Myers in the deal too. Let's not overlook that.
Sure, exactly.
That's true.
But also,
How many years has he left, by the way? How many years does he have left?
probably 1 or 2.
I'll check.
I thought
I'll
it was a
check
few.
right now.
From what I remember, I thought he had like 2 or 3, if I was not mistaken.
But
I thought he was under control too. Let's see.
even if you think it wasn't overpaid for Peralta, right? My problem is that when you have an opportunity to get a top line starter like the Mets needed last year at the deadline, but you were willing to overpay in the offseason, but not willing to overpay when your team was actually still in it last year, is my problem. Is that I don't like the overpay in the offseason. I'd rather you do it at the deadline when your team has a goddamn chance. That's my problem. Like, nobody's going to bend over backwards and be like, oh my God, look what he did to get Peralta here. It's great, right? But it's the offseason. Like last year, I still believe that Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat would have got Sandy Alcantara here when the Mets needed a top line starter and bring Nolan McClain in August when they did. It would have helped this team tremendously.
Wasn't the price like crazy high though, Rob, on Alcantara?
I don't think that would have got it done, to be honest.
You know what? Give
Yeah,
more.
like
Honestly, seriously,
fine.
that's the problem, though. It's like they're willing to give up Acuna, Sproat, and Williams for two players, at least with Luis Robert Jr., who hasn't been good in 2 years and injured, and Peralta, who again is a top starter. But again, I would have gave up more. Honestly, like here's the difference: is the fact that you were going to have Alcantara here for at least 3 more years, so you're keeping him for at least the foreseeable future. And the overpay, I think, is worth doing when you're trying to save a season like they were trying to do last year, and you have another guy with McLean while still possibly looking for something. Obviously you're talking about Clay Holmes, but looking for something in the offseason as well. I just feel like, the overpay in the offseason was just, what David Stearns was doing just to try to protect his own ass, because he did a terrible job, and he has done a terrible job since he's taken over this team in every trade deadline he has control. And that's my problem.
Tobias Myers, by the way, is not going to be an unrestricted free agent until the 2031 season.
Yeah, so it's
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So
yeah,
I can live with that. You
know what, though, Rob? I would have to disagree. If you ask me, because I know Sandy kind of came back into form at the end of last season a little bit, but let's not pretend that he was not terrible before that. If you ask me this offseason,
he ended our season, Rob.
Yeah,
well, for sure he did.
Chris,
But if you were to ask me this offseason, Rob, if I want Sandy Alcantara as the standalone versus Robert Jr., Freddie Peralta, and Tobias Myers and all those years in the contract, I think I'm taking the 3 guys over just Sandy.
Sure.
In my humble opinion.
But again, I'm talking about 2 separate things here. I'm talking about our thought process going into that trade deadline last year over what they paid in the offseason to do exactly what they should have done in the trade deadline last year. That's the problem. That's what I just don't like. And again, and somebody said in the chat, Rob, you were on board with Luis Robert Jr. trade. I was, because at the end of the day, it's already the offseason. We needed outfield help after the Nimmo trade. After Juan Soto moving over to left field, there was options to attain them. Right? I didn't mind giving up Luis Acuna for Luis Robert Jr. only because it made sense at the time. But again, if you're looking back at the overall, when we were talking about overpays here, I think the Acuna for Luis Robert Jr., who was a shell of himself for 2.5 years, is an overpay and a top 10 prospect.
By the way,
I understand what you're saying, Chris.
By the way, Luis Angel Acuna hitting 173, 17 hits, and a minus 0.6 WAR. So we think Robert was bad. This guy's even fucking worse.
That's not even. Yeah,
but at least he's probably on the field.
He's a disaster. He's got 98 at bats, and I believe the White Sox are like 500, so they're not terrible.
We already have another Acuna Jr. and Nick Morabito. So, anyways, who cares?
So, guys,
any thought on maybe I know, because he was at least for some fans a target, or maybe he was a target of the Mets or not. Framber Valdez, and would that have been any different here? Could we have used him?
Of course.
We're talking about, because I know people were, some people were opposed to it because of the issue with the catch.
I wanted him.
Yeah, I wanted him too.
I think all 4.
I think this team needs something like that.
Yeah, the team needs some balls.
I wanted Michael King for sure.
Me too. I would have taken him
He's doing well,
too.
right?
I need
but the draft pick. God forbid we get up the fucking draft pick. Fucking garbage.
Just think about this, though. With the way that this rotation is right now, you have to. It's the Mets. You have to account for injuries. They were really banking on David Peterson and Kodai Senga to be competent this season, and that was their first mistake. They were banking on a lot of stuff. They were banking on a Clay Holmes resurgence season. They hit on that bet right there. They were banking on Noel McLean continuing his dominant ways. That's left to be determined, and they're banking on Kodai Senga and David Peterson to actually be competent for a full 162 across 25 to 30 starts. Failure. That's where they're
Chris.
Don't forget Sean Manaea.
How about this? The end of the last, remember David Stearns at the end of last year at the press conference at the end of the year, he said, what'd he say about Kodai Senga? I can't expect him to give you 30 starts. So he knew that coming into the season. He thought
Correct.
that Peterson was going to be much better. He didn't think Peterson was going to be this bad. He thought they could salvage Minaya, and he thought he could salvage something out of Senga, something.
Right.
But we are literally getting nothing out of those three. Nothing. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to ask you guys is, yo, is there a solution to this? Like, give me something, man. I go in the spaces just like you guys, and people are talking about getting Correa to get
the fuck
whatever the
outta
fuck
here.
his name is.
Bullshit. For Jordan Alvarez, I heard that crap.
I'm not taking Correa's contract. No, thank you.
But
no.
The Astros are not going to do that. They're only 3 games out. They're not going to do that. Unless they fall out of it, and maybe that can be a conversation. But again, David Stearns is not taking on that Carlos Correa contract. I'm sorry.
Like, what's a realistic solution, fellas? What is it? To me,
selling at the deadline.
Right now, golly, that makes me sick.
I think
The conversation about selling. The shout out to Dan Bartles who put out a post today that make me want to throw up, talking about the 2027 rotation. Like, guys, but you know what's funny though? Couple of things here real quick, and I'm sorry to jump you, Eddie. You know what's funny? In 2024 when we were doing the roundtable, I was pissed because everybody wanted to sell. Fucking Rob hated Nimmo, hated Pete. We're never gonna win with these guys, and I'm like, fuck this shit. As long as we got these guys, we gotta be better. And I was fighting everybody, bro. Yo, this year, I don't have that energy.
You shouldn't.
Because I don't believe in this damn team. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they prove us all wrong.
I got something for you, though. But this time in 2024, we had the same exact record. Get excited.
I know. That's my point. And that's why I
Wait,
made
are
the video the
you
other day.
Yeah, we did.
We had
Eddie,
a 22 and 33 record.
Well, how about this?
That's my point, though.
How about this?
We don't know these players. We don't
We
know
are-
Bo Bichette if he's gonna figure out New York. Is Jorge Polanco ever gonna be healthy? When I talk about Juan Uribe, Kelly Johnson, and fucking Cespedes, well, there's Polanco on the IL. There's fucking Francisco Lindor on the IL. Right? We want to get down that stupid line where they say, this is like a trade deadline. Fucking what's his face? Luis Robert Jr., Kodai Senga. If all of these guys get healthy, oh my gosh, we can go on a run.
Did you guys hear the quote today from Jorge Polanco asking him, about coming back? And he's like, "I'm not going to rush back."
I saw that.
That's weak, man.
I said, "This is the players have the same lack of urgency than this organization." And he's
exactly, Rob.
And, I don't want you to come back half, somewhat injured and then try to hurt yourself again. I understand protecting your body.
Right.
You don't say that. Say,
no, it's a loser mentality.
What he should say is, I'm trying to get back as soon as possible. The team,
Exactly.
I know I can help this team. We're struggling right now. We you know what I mean? But they have this mentality of there's still time left.
They're
Even
losers.
though Carlos Mendoza's telling us there really isn't much time left anymore. Oh, really?
Guys,
Because everybody else seems to think there's still time.
Guys, this team's 30 games under 500 since June 12th. 30 games under 500. That isn't like that's not like just a bad stretch. That's a fucking really long time. That's almost a year.
Two different teams.
Correct.
Yo, the comments are off the
Everybody who
hook.
wanted the next guy. Let's talk about it. Why not?
Luis Hospice Jr. took me out.
You seen that? You seen that, Chris? Yo, these comments are off the hook. Luis
these
Hospice
comments
Jr.
are
Yo, I will say though, Hector, you brought back great memories with those 2024 streams because my guy Rob was on Nemo's throat, bro. He hated that.
Shout out Hayden too, man.
I still don't like Nimmo.
He still don't like Nemo. But you know what? To answer Eddie's question real quick, and they've also brought it up in the comments. Shout out everybody in the comments, man. They like always going crazy. And what's up, Ray? What's up, Frank? I seen you guys say what's up. But to answer your question, Eddie, and something that they've been talking about, are we going to talk about? And I'm pretty sure Rob has it there written down on his topics, maybe. And it's the Ron Darling comments, right? And you asked, what can we do? And everybody knows. I became a fan of Carlos Mendoza, even if I wasn't happy with the hiring. Because what he showed in 2024 was someone that could possibly grow into a good manager. What happened after that, I don't fucking know, and it makes me sick. I'm sorry, Mendy, but it's the truth. It's blunt thoughts. That's why you like me. But honestly, we're at the point where that is the only thing that we could possibly do besides hoping that these guys come back and help us climb out of this damn hole. Maybe it is firing the manager. The problem is who the hell you're going to put in there, right? But we can say that Listen, we just said it. Jorge Polanco has no urgency, and what did Rob say? Because his organization has no urgency.
Exactly.
From top to bottom, right? And that goes to the manager as well. When, we're going to be better. It's okay. When fucking David Peterson doesn't back up and you say, well, he knows. We haven't had a conversation yet. And that's what pissed Ronnie. Well, Ronnie didn't even know that yet then. He was just saying something needs to happen now. Yeah. In the dugout, right then and there. As soon as you come back from that pitching change, where the hell is David?
But
he went downstairs.
Though?
Go right the fuck downstairs. Let Kai Correa manage in the time being and go chew his ass up.
Hector.
But everybody needs to know that can't happen. The same way that it should have happened with Mark Vientos earlier in the year. It should have happened with Francisco Lindor earlier in the year. But again, there's no urgency, right? You could say no accountability, but I don't even think it's that. It's too much of trust in these guys, and they're going to get it done, and they know what's right and wrong. Well, bullshit. And to make matters even worse, there isn't even a leader amongst those players to go and say, you know what, this is unacceptable. If it wasn't Carlos Mendoza, I don't want to see a coach do it. It shouldn't have been one of the coaches. It should have either been Carlos Mendoza or one of the leaders on that team as a player. I guarantee you, if you're playing on the team with me and that shit happens, I don't give a fuck if it's Sunday beer league softball. You're going to hear it from Heck. And we're probably going to argue because Heck is not going to be happy. You got to play the game the right fucking way. And for anything else, maybe for that, Carlos Mendoza should be fired. I'm sorry, Mendy, but I'm not sorry. Because before you and I made a connection, I've been a Met fan. And after you're gone, I'm going to continue to be a Met fan, just like all these fucking players.
You know.
Like it is. Eddie, can I take it a step further, though, with that? When are we going to expect the guy that actually holds the power, even over David Stearns, to step in and say enough is enough? Because I'll say this. Although he's the owner and he's not expected to do that, the reason why we were all excited when Steve Cohen took over this ship was the money. But also, for me, at least for me, it made me feel decent enough that he was willing to own a baseball team in a little bit more of a unique manner and be more hands-on than a lot of these owners around the league.
Wilpons.
That's right.
But you know what the problem is?
He needs to step in. I'm sorry.
I agree with that. But you know what the problem is, though? There was a lot of Met fans that wanted Steve Cohen to step to the side and let Stearns do his job.
That was never me. That was never me. I don't need him to step aside.
I mean, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. He should let the baseball people do it. But right now, I'm with Chris. Right now, and I'm the first person to say I don't want to hear from the owner. For what? He's gonna say something I don't want to hear anyways. But right now, no. You need to say something, bro. You gotta say something. This? I don't give a fuck what it is.
When Steve Cohen took charge in the 21 into 2022 season, he put his fucking foot down. He got Scherzer. We got Bassett. Signed Marte. Signed a bunch of guys. And it worked. With Billy Epler, it worked. With Stearns, it has not worked 1 year. That was a fluke in 2024. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It was a fluke. We got lucky. But, to be honest, Billy Epler blows David Stearns' record out of the water just by picking baseball players. I mean, when he signed Marte, who else did he bring in that offseason? It was Marte. Marcana. Who else did we have there? We bought in Bassett, bought in Scherzer.
Did he bring in Escobar or was Escobar already? Was that before, after? I forget.
Escobar might have been after.
Or before, I forget.
But either way, those moves worked. We won 102 games.
Chris Bassett, who was solid.
Chris Bassett, and we won 102 games. And all these prospects that we're talking about right now were guys that were picked by Billy Epler.
Yep.
I mean, to me, that is screaming in the face. Maybe you go back to Billy Epler.
Bro,
he did better than
that was the biggest.
Doing.
Maybe that was the biggest mistake or
well, their hand got forced there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That happened to the Mets in the fact that he got
suspension. It's over with.
Right. Yeah. Hey, listen. But he doesn't want to hire a GM.
Are you talking about as a GM? Is that what we're talking about here? I missed that.
Well, no. I would get rid of Stearns and replace him.
Oh,
as a GM, and then maybe go out and get a
That's some real Steinbrenner shit right there. That's some
Look,
real
desperate
Steinbrenner
times call
shit
for
right there.
desperate measures.
You know, it's funny though, because like when David Stearns took over, he did talk about, yeah, I'm the president of baseball ops, and we're probably gonna get a GM, and he lied to everybody about that. Like, I think the power got to his fucking head, to be quite honest with you, because
No, you're
I
right.
don't know. Did he ever say he was going to hire a GM? I think he's always been more like, maybe.
No.
Yeah.
They did half-ass interviews.
Yeah, but I don't
They
think
did.
it was really him. I think that was more an organizational thing. He came in on that, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe, and we'll replace. But I don't think he ever really. And let's be honest, though, guys. It's only about a fucking title. It's not as if he's the only one doing the job by himself. He has about 5 or 6 assistant GMs.
Oh, of course.
We just want somebody to be titled a GM. It doesn't matter. That person, unless that person's gonna clearly make day-to-day baseball decisions, and David Stearns is just gonna make like operational minor league stuff, and what's the point besides having a guy with a title if David Stearns is still the last line of every decision? You know what I'm saying?
That's where Steve Cohen needs to step in and put his foot down, and that's where he makes that decision. That's what I'm saying with Steve Cohen. That's his
But
call.
again, Steve Cohen is. I mean, David Stearns is Steve Cohen's hand-picked guy, and as impatient as we are as a Met fan, and as done as we may be with him as a Met fan, I keep saying this just as a little caveat, just as a little devil's advocate, or whatever you want to call it. When we get to judging this, if we want to make a fair judgment, we have to judge the entire picture, right? And how does David Stearns feel about everything? But in my opinion, he cannot feel good about the analytics department. I don't give a damn what he says. I don't care how big it got. Oh, now the Mets they used to have 5 people in the analytics department. Now they have 45. Well, you got 45 idiots, because whatever the hell they're telling these players, it doesn't work.
Facts.
They go up to the plate, they're doing these mathematical equations, and it doesn't fucking work.
Well, when it comes to defense, run prevention, he did talk about that, and that's been the best thing about this team, right? If you look at the metrics,
The metrics, but do we see that? Do we see them when we watching the 9 basis?
No, not at all, Hector. Not at all.
Again, when he preached run prevention and every interview he had in the offseason, the metrics tell you that run prevention was really good with the metrics right now. So again, the analytics are working, because if that's your play as a president of baseball ops / GM, and that is your go-to on every press conference during the offseason, and that is what you wanted to put on this team was run prevention, I mean, it's successful. It's just that it's not successful to be a championship team. Because I don't know how many teams that we watch around baseball that, make the playoffs every year, win championships, and uses his philosophy, continue to use these analytics, and then spend the money that he can spend, and yet it's a disaster for back-to-back seasons. Like you said, Eddie, 2024 was a fluke. That wasn't his team anyway. Right? He was just in there to watch and sign a couple of what if guys. That every what if guy that he signed worked out,
And it all worked out.
Correct. And it still took until a couple of moves like Jose Iglesias and just a spark or whatever it was. But it worked, right? It was fun while it lasted. But we all the problem was David Stearns, I believed, thought 2024 was more real than everybody else thought. We all thought it was a fluke. If you didn't think it was a fluke, like it was fun, obviously we're fans, we're gonna enjoy it, but it was a fluke. And to go into the 2025 season and trying to bring more what ifs to the team, and then this year bring in more what ifs. And again, the biggest problem with David Stearns, and I don't know if you guys agree, we can actually have that conversation, but the biggest problem with David Stearns is that he hasn't shifted philosophies from what he did with Milwaukee, right? Everybody understands he needs to bring in what ifs, and because he can't bring in big contracts, right? But when you're in a big market and you continue to bring what ifs and you don't change your philosophy into long-term deals, and maybe he is playing a long game, but you know what? It only takes one day for Steve Cohen to just blow up and say, you know what? Fuck your patience, and fire him. And then all that slow, methodical process is out the window. So Steve Cohen's got it. This is why, and Chris is right, and everybody's right. Steve Cohen got to speak here, because either you tell your fans this is a long process and blow it up and go through the process of building your organization and farm system and your team and be honest with this organization. But you can't come out there and say, I believe in David Stearns. I understand what he's trying to do, but you're not telling us what he's trying to do. You're making us believe that you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Guys.
The problem.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. Good.
No, I was just going to say, you think you go to next year and you look at the free agent, class of next year,
Oh God.
and our biggest problem is offense. The headliner of next year is Randy Arozarena. That's
my
the
God.
headline
Please,
free
give me
agent
a
hitter
break.
next year.
I mean,
All right,
one of
like
our
that's
best
how
players.
bad it is next year. So we're gonna have
Another
to do
guy
some
that's never lived
deep,
up to the hype, in
deep
my
digging
opinion.
to get some talent in here. And I
Trade
don't have
for
an
a
answer.
bat.
I wish I did.
Trade Beatty, trade Vientos, trade all these guys. Now that
And
they
what are you
have
gonna
minimal
get?
trade value.
It
Exactly.
needs
That's
to
what
be
I'm
a
saying. This is
trade.
what they should have done in this past offseason. Rob and
Yeah.
I were saying this all along. Take what you can get out of Beatty's value. He fooled half this fan base that are Beatty lovers, and now he's back to his old ways. I'll give him some slack. Over the past couple of weeks, he has looked better, but the overall numbers still stink. And clearly, like you said, Rob, with David Stearns thinking that 2024 was real, he obviously thought that Mark Vientos was going to come back to form too. And look what he's doing. He stinks too. These guys are failed prospects, and it just goes back to the same conversation. Failed prospects, and relying on them after you sign a guy like Juan Soto. Only the New York Mets can sign a generational player in Soto and
Fuck
miss
up.
postseasons back-to-back seasons. That's crazy.
Well, I keep telling you guys that was forced on David Stearns. Not that any baseball person wouldn't want Juan Soto, but not at that point. And I think that has screwed up the way he wanted to do things. Hold on, Rob. I have a question for you. Because I'm dumb, right? When it comes to some of these numbers, I'm dumb, especially the new shit. What do I have to look to see what you're telling me that the Mets have good numbers as far as defense? Because I look at outs above average.
Thank
and
you.
The New York fucking Mets are -8, number 23 in the league. I look at fielding run value, and the New York Mets are 23rd at -5. I look at defense overall, whatever the fuck this shit is, and the Mets are
DRS,
20th
defensive run
at
save, that's what the
-3.5.
barometer is.
So where do I have to look? Okay, let's go to the StatCast
What is
numbers.
DRS?
Defensive run save.
Defensive
I know
run
that,
save.
but what's that? What's the number?
I think I just said that. No, hold on. Oh, hold on.
You
I
said
didn't see
fielding
that.
value.
Okay, my bad. Where can I find that? Hold on.
DRS
I think they're
is
middle of
usually
pack
the one
last
they
time
all
I checked
talk
a couple
about,
weeks
right?
ago.
Oh, here it is. I got you. Oh, that's the one. That's the one.
That's
There
where
you
they're
go.
better.
That's the
There you
one.
go.
I guess they're 12, 13.
There you go. Oh,
I was being
wow.
sarcastic because I can give a fuck about these numbers. I don't care. Give me average RBI.
No, I know, Rob. I'm not picking on you. I just want to understand even what the fuck they're saying, because I don't see it.
But
Listen, I'm gonna be. And I was with. Shout out to Patty, who I see was in here. We were at the game last night, and I think it was Ewing. No, Bench. Bench made a play at the wall, going back towards the wall,
Nice.
and it looked like a nice play. And I said, Patty, he fielded that terribly. Like his route to the ball and everything, like he shouldn't have fielded that ball like that. You know what I'm saying? But he caught it. But that's also why we've seen him drop a couple of balls that he should fucking have in his back pocket, and so on and so forth. So these numbers, I wipe my butt with, like I'm gonna do after we're done with this show, and I go use the
Yeah.
bathroom.
So all right. So let's. I mean, do we really have to talk about the Marlins series? We'll figure out. We got Peralta starting tomorrow.
They're
We'll
probably
see
gonna
what
sweep us
happens
again.
They're going to sweep us again.
Maybe they'll have a
No, we're better. It's Miami. They kick our ass. We usually do better at home versus them.
Yeah.
hope
That's
you're right.
all right. So
That's usually the way it goes.
obviously we got 2 months until the trade deadline, right? There's not a lot to talk about at this current moment because again, there's about 50 something games until that point happens, until we really get into the nitty gritty when it comes to the trade.
Yeah, it's like 55 games we got.
Yeah, when they're 44 games out of first place. But when it comes to the trade deadline, right, and what the expectation is here, right? Obviously, we all probably believe at this point that they're going to be sellers, right? If anybody believes that Yordan Alvarez and Tig Correa's contract, you're not paying attention to what David Stearns has done over the last couple of seasons, all right? He's not doing that. And, the long-term deal, the one long-term deal there actually is that he could have had a part of, which we all know he didn't, was Juan Soto. So, I mean, we all know he didn't do that. But when it comes to the trade deadline, what is everybody expecting, right? I know we're sellers. But what are we expecting here, right? Can we get? I'm not looking at other teams' prospects until it gets closer to that point. But we need somebody to be so desperate for whatever we might have that somebody wants that we get a generational prospect back that everybody says could be the next Bryce Harper or Juan Soto. And I
Pete
know
Alonso.
there you go. So, like, again, we don't know the players, but is there a player on this current roster that we can trade that somebody might be so desperate for that we could get something in return that we could say, hey, you know what? This kid's ready to come up. You know, a ready to go prospect that next year, or if we play next year, he can be part of this team and be a difference maker going forward.
Peralta and Holmes pitching
What-
at the deadline is always at a super premium. If those
Peralta-
guys, I don't know if Holmes will be ready by then.
Yeah, that's
Well,
Like,
there was an
if he
update on
is-
Holmes. Did you? I'm sorry to interrupt again. I apologize, guys. But since you mentioned Holmes, there was an update on Holmes. I don't know if you guys saw. The doctor said there's no surgery required or anything like that, so he should be able to heal. So
it's still August.
he should
though.
be able to come back in
So-
mid-August. They
Okay.
said maybe. So it'll be
Well,
after the deadline.
Maybe you could flip him at the deadline, but if Peralta, picks up his boots and comes in with does his thing, beats Freddy Peralta, you have a chance to get a really, really good prospect because pitching last year at the deadline, according to all the GMs, the asking price was fucking crazy. And there's a bunch of teams in the American League that are all in a race, and a guy like Peralta could change their trajectory in a second. So if I was David Stearns, give me power, 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 power. That's what I want. That's what this team needs.
I will say those are your second and third best options for any team around this league at the deadline in terms of starting pitchers go, outside of maybe Tariq Skubal. That's like it's Peralta and Holmes after that. It's going to be super thin. So I think the Mets can and should take advantage of that. And I think the only other player that will generate decent enough interest because he's got controllability. He's pitching lights out so far in multiple roles this season. Is Huascar Braziban. He's pitching to the tune of a 1.67 ERA. He's got 3 years of control left or 2 years of control left or whatever. That's basically your best bet. And then you look past that, it's basically trying to get rid of money off the books if they are full-fledged sellers. And that's just not a recipe to generate that much return value. With the way Beatty and Vances are going, they've got minimal value. And that's kind of like, do you sell full force or you just kind of like keep things as is, knowing that you're not going to get much in return? Or are they really going to be desperate to get the money off the books? That's where David Stearns is going to have a really tough decision trying to do that.
I don't think it's tough at all.
I would try to do both. Like, get what you can for these guys, but also really try to make this team better. Get somebody in here that truly can, change the franchise. Even if you got to give something up, do it. If that person is available, do it, because this team is so fucking boring. Like I said to Hector, this poor guy goes to almost every fucking game. I wouldn't be able to sit through that shit. I would leave after if they go down 5-0. I'm out. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, at least the food's good, so you get something out of that.
Yeah, and you're paying your mortgage payment with the food there, so or your rent.
Fuck that shit. They're not getting my money on no damn food. I make sure I eat before I go in. I get in there. I ain't lying to y'all.
No, I want to ask something. Like, I don't know if Bichette has a trade.
He does. He has a trade. There's no
Let's
trade.
say he wants to get the fuck out of here because I think he's full of shit when he talks about I do it as a 3-year deal. Let's say Bo Bichette actually picks it up and looks like the player we thought we were gonna get and becomes clutch Bichette.
It's not going to be worth $42 million in the eyes of anybody.
No, but if the Mets pay that, at least some.
Yeah, but then don't they owe him for next year too?
But that's what I'm saying though. Like, if they're willing to pay a lot of that money, but again, you have to fully blow it up. Like, that's the thing. Like, the reason why I can't stand fucking David Stearns is because he's half-ass deadlines, either buy it or sell it. That's my problem. Like, if he like Chris was talking about, like, are they, or Eddie's talking about, is he going to go, are you going to be full-blown sellers, or are you just going to get who you can get rid of and get value from certain people and then keep whoever else you just can't get value from? Like, in my opinion, if you can get Brett Beatty for a hot dog and fries, I do it at this point. Like, seriously, like, I think you have to go full-blown and just blow this shit up and get all
Vientos too.
Yeah, everybody. Like, there's no reason to keep Vientos on this team anymore. You know what? What about Francisco Alvarez? I know he's hurt, But he's a guy that a lot of teams with a lot of control still can use in the present and the future. I fucking get rid of him because I already said it. Signing Luis Torrens to an extension told me everything I needed to know about what the Mets are doing over the next year or two, and that is without Francisco Alvarez. So get rid of him too. If you can get something out of him, who might come back, maybe in a month or so, or a couple of weeks, and he starts getting going at the trade deadline, get rid of him. Anybody who can get value at the trade deadline, you get rid of. Go all the way out. Because I don't want to hear, oh, we kept Vientos here because we didn't get, a bat and a ball for him or something, a reliever, whatever it might be. But it needs to be a whole fire sale, seriously. Because you know what? There's going to be a desperate team out there that is going to make a desperate move. And why aren't the Mets being the first in line to have the sign up for sale? Why not?
Now let me ask you guys something. You want to have a fire sale, right? So we have the fire sale.
Not necessarily a fire sale.
Because my question is, what's the end game here? Right?
Well,
so do we want to have a fire sale and then again try to plug and play guys and give out all this stupid ass money, whether it be for 2 or 3 years, with opt-outs after 1 year? Or do we do a fire sale and say, you know what? Fans, you're not going to like this. Go Rangers style, write a letter, do whatever the hell you want to do. And say, we're actually going to do what we said we're going to do from day one. From the day that I bought this team, Steve Cohen, and we should have done it then, and we didn't. And I should have done it when I brought David Sturgeon here in 2023, whatever the fuck it was. We're going to do that now, and we're going to really go into the farm, and we're going to play the young guys. And in 2 or 3 years, then we'll go all in and try to win a World Series.
Well, heck, didn't you and Chris talk about that this was his plan all along? It's just that it got sped up with injury.
On the last episode.
Yeah.
Okay, let me fight back on you on this. I said that he was going to phase them in while still trying to build a contender because that's very easy to do. You get the right pieces. You try
No. Hold on, Chris. Hold on. Let me correct you. Let me correct you. Not a contender. While still trying to compete. While still trying to compete.
I got to get the wording right. But it was a 2 to 3 year plan where they would phase these guys in. This was phase one was Carson Bench, and probably AJ Ewing was always in the cards.
Not so soon, though.
He was always in the cards. Right. It was a phase
not so soon, though. Hector's right.
What? What did he say? I didn't hear.
It's not so soon.
I said no. Yeah, not so soon. I was just ad-libbing to what Chris is saying, really, because I agree with him 1,000%.
Yeah, and so like I said, let's not pretend like this was going to be all in immediate in 2026. Injuries sped the process up, but he was going to do this as part of a phased plan over the next few years, but still get pieces like Bo Bichette, like Polanco to sell fans in the biggest market of all of baseball that this team is going to compete. Because you know how it's going to look when he does a fire sale on a team that he built in a city that has expectations. It's going to look horrendous, and at some point, PR has to count for something. These guys care about PR, and that's not going to sit well with anybody.
Honestly, no, you got to know your fan base better because we're so used to losing that we would understand. And if you tell us the truth as Met fans, we're so used to, we got enough scar tissue to last the rest of our lives. Right? You got to know your fan base better. As PR, they're doing a terrible job because as PR, you need to know your fan base. You don't think the fan base, there'll be some people who are pissed off, like Hector, who loves to go to games. He'll still go to games. But you know what, though?
But at least I know you're actually right, Rob. At least I know what the plan is.
Oh, correct. That's the thing. Then PR's doing a shit job because PR shouldn't be worrying about the bandwagon fans that come to games. You got to be worried about your diehards. And if you don't know your fan base, then they're already doing a bad job. And I already think they are. Their PR sucks.
Rob.
Nobody knows their plan. They don't even know their plan. We can watch the game and know that the organization has no plan.
They are so out of touch with the fan base, with the everyday fans, with the diehards. They're so out of touch that they're putting out this product day in and day out that literally it's extremely hard to watch, and it's extremely hard to root for. I mean, again, I'm going to go back to the word. They are really, really boring. And that just doesn't. I mean, that like this team doesn't say, "Oh, there's no gamers, there's no gritty guys, there's no guys out there that want to have some fire in them." Nothing. They don't have any
You know
of
who
that.
was a gamer and gritty? I know 2 guys that were gamers and gritty. I know 3 guys that were gamers and gritty.
Okay, but there is nobody in there that would fire.
Rob's
That says,
favorite
"Come
guys.
on, let's fucking do this." They're boring, and they need to bring some guys in here who actually give a shit.
Yeah,
I
you're
agree,
absolutely
man.
right,
I
bro.
look at that dugout.
But you know what's funny, guys? You know what's funny? You know what's funny? You guys talk about I go to games. Even still, the few of us in there still try, bro.
Oh, sure.
And whenever there's guys on base, you want to try to get excited. You want to try to start a chant. And then sometimes you just can't. They beat it right out of you. You know, you get a guy on base, and here comes Vientos with a ground ball double play. You know what I mean? Like, it's always something that takes away from the fan base actually getting excited. Even in these last couple of days with the Reds, it was decent crowds. You know, the holiday and all of that good stuff. Last night, no, 2 nights ago. You know, I got in there late both nights, last night and 2 nights, so 2 nights ago. But even 2 nights ago, I'm in the 7th, 8th inning, and still, when they made a little bit of a rally, the fans still try, and immediately they just, like Eddie said, they just take the air out of you, man.
Dude,
Just take
can
the
I
air out
ask
of
you all something? This is not even a roster, I guess, question. This is just a question about how the Mets are operating. Like I said, with the whole PR, and you said to try to, pan to the diehards versus the casuals, right? Everything that the Mets have done and everything that Steve Cohen is doing, I hate to bring up the casino, but it has to be brought up. All the ballpark amenities about how Citi Field is better than, the Yankee Stadium and the fan experience. This organization's a little smart because now they know that even if the product on the field sucks, the casuals will still come to the park and spend money at their stadium. So I don't really think they necessarily care about the diehards, to be quite frank. That's just my 2 cents, that's my opinion. But
you
they've
know
got
what,
this
though,
whole
Chris?
thing set up, and they
The
continue to
diehards,
go.
I agree
diehards are getting
100%
tired of
with
that
you,
shit,
Chris.
though. The
I'm
diehards
sure they
getting,
are.
no,
Heck,
that's
and
true.
You're one of them, but that's why, like I said, I don't get out to as many games as you do. But like, that's what I'm starting to notice is that.
Well, no, but you've seen it on X, though. You've seen it on social media and on X, but people are complaining about why are we doing this fucking bullshit in the 6th inning, the 6th inning, whatever the hell they call it, the light
lights
show.
or whatever you're saying?
Yeah. Why are we doing this, so on and so forth? Even pissed off at the players for doing the home run celebration with the helmet and the vest and all that. So
Yeah, they stole that from the Knicks.
They did actually.
helmet and the
absolutely.
They did. It's totally stolen from the Knicks.
the helmet and the vest.
Yeah, that's
They've been
for the
doing that.
defensive player of the game. When the Knicks have the defensive player of the game, they'd dress a guy up with the helmet and the vest.
Well, let's not say they stole it from the Knicks. They're honoring the Knicks. They're showing the Knicks some love. Nothing wrong with
Soto
that.
was showing some
Just
love.
like
and
Soto
then
doing the
Yeah,
runs
too
and
bad
shit.
nobody can hit home runs, so it barely happens,
Brunson was wearing a Yankees cap when he was asked about.
Well,
the
actually, they've
Soto
hit a few the
tribute.
last few days that have pissed people off for them doing the celebration because the home runs have been meaningless. Well, actually, they've been Soto home runs too.
Well, when it comes to the diehards, right? I mean, look, we've been through enough losing seasons to know how
We're
City
dying,
Field
all
works, right? We know the ballpark doesn't get filled up, but again, you go back to the PR where Chris was talking about the fact that they don't seem to understand that Met fans are more reasonable than a lot of other fan bases in big markets. Let's be honest, right? Especially the crosstown rivals and the Yankees, right? Right? How Yankee fans complain when they make the playoffs every year. And again, I'd love to have that problem, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
But you know what? They got to know you got to know the fan base. Like, you have to understand that. Like, there is no Met fan if you give him truth serum and Steve Cohen goes on SNY tomorrow and say, "Listen, guys, I tried my best over these last 4 to 5 years owning this team, 5-6 years owning this team to bring a championship. It hasn't worked. I think we need a complete rebuild." And you know what? Look, the Rangers do it almost every 6 or 7 years, right? The Rangers do it, right? They sent a letter to the season ticket holders. My best friend's a season ticket holder. He got a letter when they were trading all these players right before the deadline, right? To be honest with a fan base that has dealt with enough losing to understand that if you're trying to rebuild and build something, we will get excited. Look, Met fans
Just say it.
Yeah, exactly. Met fans get excited over prospects every single day. How many years, Chris, have I been doing this shit with this channel and shows where people are going crazy about prospects and don't want to trade this guy, don't want to trade that guy, and they're in love with prospects. All you have to say to 60% of this fan base is we're rebuilding and trying to acquire as many prospects as possible and building this farm system from not even the ground up anymore, but building it up to the point where we can possibly get superstars coming up due to farm system. That's it. Half the fan base would be so excited. And you know what? They would get on board with seeing the Ryan Cliffords of the world and the Morabitos and, Tong and, God knows who else, in this organization, in the farm system coming up. Because when you're building towards something, there might be one or two guys that actually perform to the point where, again, I'm not the biggest fans of Nimmo and Alonso, but guys like that might be superstars or, they're not superstars, but being superstars that you might have that opportunity when Juan Soto is still in his prime. Right? Because we also have to talk about that. I know we're getting a little past the time that we wanted to, but, I'm not going to say we wasted years of Lindor because they spent a lot of money. But Juan Soto is in his prime. Are you going to do the same thing that, wait until he's 30, 31 years old and all of a sudden his team's turning around and now he's 10, 11 years in the league where he's already getting injured? You don't think he's going to be injured in 3-4 years when this team might take off? And then we're going to
he'll probably be the DH by then.
Sure.
So it'll be a DH, bro. Before the opt-out goes in, he'll be a DH.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll say this, Rob, and this is I'll just take it away with the final thoughts here because I'm assuming that's what we're going to be doing next. Is this? You said the Yankees fans wouldn't tolerate this, and you're absolutely right. This is why when Rob and I go on these pregame streams and postgame streams and we're telling you all how losing a series early on to the Cardinals in the fashion that they did was unacceptable, and all the other series that they let slip away, right? The first Diamondback series of this year was an egregious one, and fans told us it's still early. This is one of the only fan bases where this team can be as abysmal and garbage as we've seen it and be 10 games under 500, and you'll still scroll your timeline saying, and seeing fans saying, you gotta believe, and all this garbage. Like, this fan base will eat anything up. And that's my main issue. So take it at face value, but I do agree with you. I think that unless they have this unforeseen plan of not exercising the opt-out of Juan Soto when that point gets here, which I would find hard to believe, but stranger things have happened. If this team is real desperation mode, then they're going to continue to spend the money and compete, like Hector said earlier, and sign the Bo Bichettes of the world, even if they don't go anywhere, because they don't want to make it known that they are wasting the prime years of Juan Soto. And we might be in a continuous cycle, but we're not going to be in a complete rebuild. I'll tell you that. Not while Juan Soto is here. They will not commit to that, even though maybe that would be in the best interest of expediting the process of building a true team that might be able to contend in the future. That's all I got.
Heck, final thoughts.
I want to throw up. That's my final. No, let me stop. Listen, man. I just had a final thought, but I just realized this basketball game was on there. It looks like this thing is going to go to game 7. I mean, it's still only the third quarter and anything can happen, but...
I'm rooting for San Antonio. Let's go San Antonio.
You're up 21 points right now.
Good.
Yeah.
We won San Antonio. Let's go Wemby.
I've just gone blank. Go to Eddie, come back to me.
Eddie.
All right. Final thoughts. Let's go out, and if you got to fire the manager, fire the manager. But something has to give. Something has to change. You can't continue to lose to sub-500 teams, to mediocre ball clubs. You can't, get excited over an 11-6 span and then follow it up with whatever it is, 3-7. You can't do that. You got to bring guys in here that care. You got to bring guys in here that want to be here, that are gamers, that maybe they're not stars, but you know what? They show up every single day and they're consistent. And they don't have to be the highest paid player in the league. There's guys out there, you could find them. We have prospects, right? We're supposedly one of the better farm systems in baseball. Well, how about going out and finding a couple of guys that could put the ball out of the ballpark? That'll make this team somewhat exciting, because when I watch this lineup, as Hector would say, I want to throw up. It's disgusting. One
Uh-oh.
1 through 9 is disgusting. All right, it's 1 through 3 if you're lucky and they're okay. I like what I see out of AJ Ewing. I like what I see out of Bench. I like what I see out of Juan Soto. But after that, I don't like any of them. None. I don't like Alvarez. I think he sucks.
You like Eric Wagaman?
Wagaman, I'm gonna get excited over here. Get lost. Come on, man.
Slater back.
Just
Let's
give me
go.
some guys that care. Give me some guys that got some fucking fire, man. They're out there. You're getting paid $10 million a year, Stearns. Find them. Because I could go on Baseball Reference and probably find some guys that you could plug in here and actually give a shit. Maybe could change the course of the season. 10 games under. It's not the end of the world. The Yankees have made the postseason like for the last 30 years, almost every year. You're getting paid $10 million a year to put up a competitive baseball team. Fucking do it and make it exciting. Make it fun. Please, that's all I ask.
Heck.
Shout out J Mac, man.
J Mac, he's the best.
You said make it fun. Well, these have been the fun prevention Mets. That's what they have been.
Exactly.
Um,
Great
but-
job. Great quote there, by the way.
That was a great one.
Listen, when he said that, I was like, wow, dude, like, you nailed it. And I've been using it ever since. So, again, excuse me. Shout out J Mac, the fun prevention Mets. Thank you, David Stearns. But you should have been honest with us, dude. You should have been honest with us. Yes, we would have been pissed. These guys are right. We would have been pissed. But I've said many times what Rob has said. We've suffered so damn long. What would have been another 2-3 years if we knew what the hell we were doing? So, yeah, I would have still chosen to maybe go to the games. Maybe not as many, or maybe just as many. Maybe even more, just to see what the hell we have with these young guys. But instead, you blew some smoke in our face. You gave us these guys, and now this plan has blown up in your face, right? You try to give us these guys that if it would have worked, I said it before, and like Chris said earlier, the plan was always for these young guys to come up here, right? Well, he told us in the offseason when nobody was thinking about Carson Bench would get an opportunity. He told Brandon Nimmo when they spoke about the trade, the no trade clause, these young guys are I need to get a lane for them to play. They're going to play. You're going to be a DH at best most of the time, eventually. Right? So that was always the plan, but it got sped up. And I said it. Maybe if AJ Ewing was killing it in the minor leagues and Nick Morabito, they were just knocking the doors down to the major league team where you have to bring these guys up. And Polanco would have stayed healthy and Luis Robert was healthy. Maybe those guys would have been the trade pieces. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you would have traded one or two of those guys because now you have a young guy to bring up to a team that was playing well. And you would have accomplished both things. You would have stayed competitive. You would have incorporated some young guys and so on and so forth. But it's all blown the hell up. So again, when everybody talks about trade or sell, whatever path you decide to do, what the hell is next? Because that's the most important thing. And
Be
then,
honest.
And then, who's going to implement that plan? Will it continue to be David Stearns? Or will Steve Cohen say, this is enough? I don't know what the hell it is. It makes me sick that that's even the conversation right now. Like I said when we opened up, shout out Darren Bartels, but I hated his fucking post earlier today talking about the 2027 rotation. You think I give a fuck about Joe Santucci and whoever the hell else he talked about in that fucking post? Give me a motherfucking break. I'm still a lunatic that's hoping that some way, somehow, these guys start winning some games so that when these other fools get healthy, we still fucking go for it. I am. So maybe I'm not good for this.
Too, Hector.
Maybe I'm not good for this content creating stuff when you have to like take an honest look and you have to start looking at trade value and who we can trade and how we should get and power, says Eddie. And everybody says, hell yeah, thumbs up to that. Fuck that. I want to win now, god darn it. I say this shit all the damn time, and every fucking year at this time, we're talking about the same thing, and I want to throw the hell up.
Yeah.
But that's my final thought. With that, you know what's happened? The fucking Mets and a little bit of the Knicks themselves, but the Mets mainly have made it so that I haven't even enjoyed this Knicks team the way that I should. You know what I'm saying? And some people may call me a phony. Some people may call me a casual, whatever you want. I have the scars of my Knicks fandom. So let's fucking go, Knicks. I don't give a damn who we play, the Spurs, the Thunder, whatever the hell it is. What I do know is, and I put out a post, but nobody pays attention to Hector, so I'm going to say it here on the Flushing Faithful Roundtable. I'm going to do an apology for him. And I know my bad, guys, but I'm going to go my closing thought. I'm going to go here. I owe Leon Rose an apology. The only one I don't owe an apology because I always backed him up was James Dolan. Not that meant that I liked everything he did, but I always felt like he spent the fucking money to try to win. He brought in here all kinds of front office people. You name the top front office people, he tried to get them in here. They failed him. We've had the top coaches in the game. They failed them. Look it up. Lenny Wilkins, Don Nelson, Larry Brown. We've had them all.
Mike D'Antoni.
We've had them all. He brought up this agent in here, and I said, what the hell are we doing?
Yep.
And then when the agent started making moves, I said, this dude is only bringing people in here that he's had a connection with. Sooner or later, you're going to have to bring somebody here that you had no connection, and he's going to be able to do it. I doubted all of it. Eddie knows I hate Jalen Brunson's game. I felt like he was a ball hog. Now, you can't tell me that they didn't adjust because we all know they made adjustments. And they've kind of taken the ball a little bit out of his hands. And that's what's made the Knicks better now and go on this fucking tremendous run. You know it, Eddie. You know it. But I owe Jalen Brunson an apology. I even fucking sided with Becky Hammond.
Oh, come on.
I did. This is blunt thoughts. I told you. You might fucking question my next card. But I have the card. I have the scars.
He did say that about Becky Hammond to me.
I owe all of them an apology, bro.
Ago, I can confirm.
I do, and I'm glad they've shut me the hell up. Hopefully, we get to the day that the Mets did the same thing. But I don't see it.
Great closeout, by the way.
But
Great closeout.
honestly, I never saw it with the Knicks, but I'm sure it's all here, and I'll be in the fucking Canyon of Heroes. But anyways, other than that, I don't even want to talk too much Knicks because I just want to stay now in the background like I've been, just enjoying the games and watching them because I don't want to jinx anything, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you guys letting me get that out because I got to be honest, man. I got to be honest. And it's because the Mets in 22 and the fucking collapse, the 2023, and yeah, 2024 was good. But at the same time, the Knicks are driving me crazy. You know, they're getting their asses kicked by the Hawks. And then they trade Julius Randle. And again, the whole brunt. And then Karl Anthony Towns comes in here. And again, it's like, damn, it's somebody you like from afar. And then they get close. And man, I thought the girl was a 10. But now she's here. She's a 6. The same shit that was with Melo for me. I'm just crazy, guys. You know it. But let's fucking go, Knicks, and shut the hell up, Hector. This is the longest closing fucking thoughts.
Nah, listen. Leon's like come up though of how he built this roster ever since Julius stepped foot into this organization, and the progression needs to be studied, man. I will say this: David Stearns wishes he could be half an executive as Leon, man.
And it was rocky in the beginning with Leon. It was rocky.
Yo,
For sure.
guys, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Are we being too impatient with David Stearns? Even at some points this year, people were questioning the Knicks and talking about Mikal Bridges and the 5 picks and so on and so forth.
I
And
owe
here we
Bridges
are.
an apology. I owe Bridges an apology. That's who I.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't even get
But here we
started on
are.
me. I killed that fucking trade.
Here we are sitting and waiting to see who the hell we're going to play in the finals. It's a beautiful thing.
Please
It's a
hope to
beautiful
God
thing.
Mitch's finger's okay.
Oh.
Please
Listen-
hope to God.
Listen,
Don't remind me of that.
I'm
Please.
still pissed off at Dolan because he owns another team at Madison Square Garden, the Rangers, and Chris Drury should have been fucking fired. All right, so besides that, all right, I'm sorry, I'm talking hockey all of a sudden. It's like, come on, because the Rangers should be in the playoffs because of that moron Drury fucking up this team. All right, I'm sorry. All right, so obviously, let's go Knicks, guys. Episode 2 of the Flushing Faithful Roundtable.
That
Hit
turned
like
into the
button.
New
By
York
the way,
Sports
the new
Roundtable.
name, Flushing Faithful.
The Flushing Faithful. We didn't want to, get it too close to the.
I didn't even realize we actually changed it. My bad. I forgot. From Queens
I gotta
Faithful.
change mine on my.
From
title.
Queens Faithful that I did
Hold on, guys.
Queens baseball last week
We
like
didn't
an
even talk
idiot.
about
Flushing Faithful, baby.
Me and Eddie were talking about it, and I just did it over the last like 24 hours and trying to change.
No, yeah, he actually had hit me up
I
like
hit
3 weeks
Hector
ago. And
first.
I forgot. And I thought about it earlier today too, Eddie, and I didn't even realize that it happened. So good job by you guys.
Yeah, he just took off the G. It's perfect.
There you go, guys. All right, so look, see what the Met like. They got about 55 games left or so towards the deadline. Look, if they can figure it out and get to at least relevance by the deadline, because again, we talked about it last episode. The National League is not that good. They're still not that good, right? We're 10 games from 500. I know it's a long shot. I know a lot of things have to go right, but there is still time. And if some of these guys perform that are currently on this team, and some guys come back healthy, including Lindor, maybe we actually might have a season to talk about over the next couple of weeks instead of just being sellers at the deadline. So thank you for watching the Flesh and Faithful Roundtable. Hit that like button, subscribe.
Real quick, Rob. Real quick. My bad. Yo, listen, man. If you're in here because you came in here because you watch my stuff or whatever, which I haven't really been doing much, yo, go check out my guys CP and Rob. They put in work every day, pre-game, post-game, all that good stuff. If you here because of me, you definitely know Eddie. Go check Eddie out. Everybody knows about Eddie. Eddie puts in the work with the Mets, fucking Knicks, all that good stuff. Especially on the late night tip. But you know what I'm saying? Let's help each other out. Let's fucking support each other. You know what I'm saying? You support me, support these guys, and vice versa. You know what I mean? But if you don't want to support me, that's fine. But support these guys because they put in work. I'm just a lunatic fan that can't get my heart out of things. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, for sure.
There you go, guys. So have a good night. I guess let's go Mets, but definitely let's go Knicks. And let's see. It looks like it's going to a game 7, guys. So
yeah,
we'll see Spurs possibly game 7. So
let's
we have to wait another couple of days until we see who our opponent is in the NBA Finals. Let's go.
Unbelievable.
Have a good night, guys.
Unbelievable.
Good night,
yeah.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have a